So still on Unit 2, again, your Unit 2 is managing information to enhance productivity. So after covering information processing systems and resources, followed by communication in written form, now let us move on to communicating orally. So for all our communication, we will focus on listening and speaking, planning and preparing a presentation, and delivering a presentation. After that, we will discuss processing and understanding financial information, including cash and bank procedures. So, listening is a key skill in the workplace, whether in meetings, phone calls, or one on one conversation. Being a good listener helps you understand and respond effectively. So, here's why listening is important at work. So, one, follow through an oral instruction correctly. So when you listen carefully, you understand what needs to be done and you're able to complete task accurately without needing repeated explanations. Also, listening is important at work because we consider additional information to make decision. Meaning, listening allows you to gather details that help you think critically. Not only that, but of course, solve problems and make informed choices. And of course, use timely productive. Paying attention the first time prevents misunderstanding and that it reduces mistakes and of course avoids wasted time repeating information. So instead of you working na, doing your assignment, doing your task, hindi na. Okay? Kasi hindi ka nakikinig, you're not able to listen carefully. Instead of you working, yun nga, yung sinabi ko a while ago, ang daming clarifications or ang daming questions. So, listening is more than just hearing a word. Okay? Basta nanggit ko, enough eh. No. It requires active thinking. So, when you listen, your mind process it. Ano yung mga pinaprocess natin? Of course, new information, by of course connecting it with what you already know and storing it from you for future use. However, even if may mga ganon, poor listening happens for many reasons, such as the one that is listed on the screen. So, feeling insecure around the speaker, yun yung mga isang barriers and how do we're not able to listen or we have a poor listening skill. Ano naman ibig sabihin to? So when a listener feels intimidated or lacks confidence in front of the speaker, such as a boss or an expert, they may become too self-conscious to focus on the message. Instead of listening, they worry about how they appear or what the speaker thinks of them. Okay? 2. Fear of anxiety and blocking focus. So fearful ka. So if a listener is too nervous, perhaps due to fear of judgment or making mistake, it can prevent them from concentrating on the conversation. So instead of us processing what is being said, our mind is distracted by our own emotions. Another is assuming we already know the topic. We admit. So some people tune out because they believe or we believe we already know and understand the subject. This overconfidence leads us to ignoring important details or new perspective that could be useful. It is true that sa mga common topics, no, ang dami na talaga nating alam in pertaining to a topic, pero delivering it to different person, iba. Okay? Kasi magkakaiba naman yung perspective ng mga tao. So, one way or another, we've been able to get something new out of them or from them. And of course, thinking the information is unimportant or there's no value. So if a listener believes that the topic isn't relevant or walang value nga rod, they won't pay attention. Okay? They might dismiss the idea. Wasn't it for me? I know that already. Bad. Okay? So those are your barriers. Now that we understand the common reasons for poor listening o yung mga barriers na sinabi ko, let us focus now on how to improve our listening skills. One is be open to learning. And approach every conversation with curiosity and willingness to learn. Yung na-mention natin kanina, even we are familiar with the topic, we can offer new insights and we listen dapat with an open mind. Of course, respect different perspective. Everyone has unique experiences and viewpoints. So by respecting others' opinion, you become more engaged and receptive to messages. And of course, seeing yourself as part of the discussion. So believing that your input matters and helps you stay attentive. When you actively participate, you listen more carefully in order for you to understand and contribute meaningfully. So if you notice, attitude, yung bottom line niya. Okay? And alis tumot lang gaya nga improve in terms of listening. Kasi nga, dun mismo sa sarili natin nag-start. So having the right attitude is essential for good listening. But to be carefully effective, you also need to you need specific strategies. So here are the 3 techniques to improve our listening skill. One is focus attention. So, anong sabi natin when we focus? We remove distraction and give our full concentration to the speaker. So, this helps you understand the message clearly and prevents misunderstanding. Of course, we have mentally summarize and review. So, as you listen, we organize our key points in our mind and connect them to what you or we already know. This improves retention and even comprehension. And take notes and ask questions. So writing down important details helps you remind information. While asking questions, it clarifies any doubts and keeps us engaged in the conversation. So just as listening is essential for effective communication, speaking clearly and confidently is equally important. So let us explore now your key strategies for speaking effectively in the workplace. So, we have here the strategies for effective speaking. So, ano yung mga strategy? One is to express ideas clearly. Another is speaking clearly in an appropriate tone. So, express ideas clearly, meaning speak in structured and organized way to ensure your idea or your message is easily understood. Etong speak clearly, how we pronounce words correctly and adjust your tone based on the situation or convey professionalism and confidence. Now, as you can see on the screen, meron tayo diyang enunciate. So, yung enunciation is obviously speak clearly in an appropriate tone, meaning it focuses on how clearly and correctly words are pronounced, helps avoid misunderstanding by ensuring each word is spoken distinctly. Saying, example, winda for window, di ba? So instead of slurring it to you or winda, dapat window. Whereas for intonation, it's more like related to express your ideas clearly and speak clearly in an appropriate tone. So both. The intonation is it involves the rise and fall of your voice to emphasize key points and express emotions. It helps you convey confidence, clarity, and meaning. So the rising intonation at the end of the sentence indicates a question, while falling intonation signals a statement. So we have also used standard language, meaning avoid slang and use proper grammar to ensure your message is clear. What else? Specifically when dealing with people from diverse background. Iwasan natin ang paggamit ng colloquialism. So when we say colloquialism, this informal expression used in casual conversation but may not be suitable for professional setting. So they can confuse non-native speakers and may sound unprofessional in business communication. So for effective communication, it is best to use standard language in professional setting and limit colloquialism to informal situation. Baka instead of yung may close mo J deal, mo may close J deal kasi nga the way you communicate or the way you transact, kaya gusto usar ka mo iti colloquialism, di awanin. So, When we speak effectively, one must be able to be, considered and the following. So we need to consider the audience. Audience is another term for listener. So as a speaker, you need to adapt your communication style depending whether you're speaking to a small group or a large audience. So, dapat tingnan din natin yung interest, yung need, okay, that shapes how we understand or they will understand the message. So, pag small group, kailangan or pwede natin gawing one-on-one. So, since small met lang isuna, as to the crowd, we can use a personal or interactive approach and encourage discussion. Ngayon, no large group, of course, presentation type data kasi nga ado. So, ang tip lang dito is that we need to speak clearly, stay structured, and tapno no mag-grab mo latad siya attention the use of visual aids is important. Okay? Of course, be aware of the nonverbal communication. Ano yung mga nonverbal communication? Such as your facial expression, our gesture, our posture. These can reinforce our message and help convey emotions effectively. Tapno no, we've been able to persuade them. Okay? Nga, you need to listen. Be interested in listeners' response, meaning engage in two-way communication by listening to feedback and responding appropriately. So let's move on with planning, preparing, and delivering an effective presentation. So identify the purpose of presentation. So every presentation has a purpose. Again, it's either to motivate and influence or to improve, inform, and educate. So, tingnan mo na lang kung ano dyan yung purpose mo of your presentation. Now, the message should align with your goal and include relevant supporting details. So, no, you motivate and influence, ano dapat goal mo or objective mo, ano digiti supporting details mo, tapos ma-achieve mo din dyan. And of course, if the aim is to persuade, yun nga, yung mention ko, the message must be convincing and impactful. Yung information and educate, dapat data-driven or factual yung mini-mention natin dyan. Of course, we need to look into the profile of the listener. So understanding the audience helps tailor the presentation to their needs. Consider what they like, what they need, what they know, and what they expect. For your presentation, tapno no, meron yung content mo is maging relevant naman sa kanila. By how? So these are some of the guidelines or questions that you can ask yourself while preparing your presentation. So what are their interests? Ano't interest da? What are their expertise? A level of expertise in terms of your topic. Ano yung mga biases mo? What are their like and dislike? And so on and so forth. So meaning in profiling your listener, you need to put yourself in their shoe. Another, when we develop the message, we need to look into the idea. So yung idea, na-divide yan to your main idea and your sub-idea, wherein it should match your presentation purposes and audience interests. Organize key points clearly to ensure logical flow and relate your content to the audience concerned to keep them engaged. And of course, your visual and audio. Okay? So, your images and audios are very powerful, meaning visual aids and sounds stimulates the listener and keep the listener's attention. But do not, again, do not make it too much. Okay? Kung ano lang sa tingin mo yung appropriate. Kasi nga, baka ma-overshadow naman yung messages mo dun sa presentation. In choosing our visual and audio, again, the goal naman of audio and the image is to enhance engagement and retention. However, studies shows that we remember when 10% of what we hear, 20% of what we see, and 50% of what we both see and hear. So when we create visual and audio presentation, dapat yung 50%. Yung laman ng presentation is somewhat, meron tayong 50% yung content niya is both to see and hear. Now, your visual helps in simplifying complex ideas and making content memorable. Lalo digiti short iti retention na. Alalis to in terms nga ma-remember the digit concept, the idea no mangig da ken magkita da. So, creating effective visual and audio, meaning choose the right media, meaning PowerPoint ba, video, chart, graph, design visual appealing elements that supports the key messages and use a strategic layout and design to maintain interest and clarity. Next is we need to create also handout and poster. So why we use handout? Of course, help listener retain key points after the presentation and it serves them for reference materials for future use. So, what do we include in the handout? Of course, summary the key points. Kung ano yung presentation mo, yon. Visual elements like charts or diagrams. Again, reinforce main idea visually and memory recall. Okay? It helps you with memory recall. We have also teams presentation. So, in many workplaces, presentation are often delivered by teams rather than individual. However, that doesn't mean bag team wala ka nang ginagawa. Hindi po. So, when we do team, ito yung suggestion ko. Meron dapat tayong division of labor. So, we need to determine rules for each of this individual or member. Meaning, assign a specific task based on team members' strength. Ano ti strength that nga member is ipoobram. Okay? Clearly define who will present which section to ensure smooth transaction. Hoy, data part mo kat unit 1, unit 2, topic 1 na, topic 2 na. Okay? And kasi nga, we need to work as a team. So, collaboration to create a comprehensive, cohesive, and well-structured presentation is important. Practice together, tapno no, seamless yung delivery and coordination. And of course, once presentation is planned and prepared, the next step is obviously we need to deliver effectively. So, deliver a great presentation requires preparation and practice. And the more you rehearse, the more confident and polished you will be. Hindi yung pagtulog mo, nag-practice ka ngayon, pagising mo, okay ka na. Hindi naman ganun. So, how do we practice? How do we prepare? Of course, we need to prepare notes. So, review key points and visuals to ensure smooth flow. Hindi naman yung basahin mo and toto, at least you have lang a basis, a guide. Rehearse your presentation, meaning practice out loud. Either may saka or at the kadwam, tapno no, they will critique you. How do you pronounce? How do you deliver? And pat nun ma-refine mo dyan delivery. And of course, prepare the meeting room. So if you are going to present, one of your tasks also is to set the room. Equipment, seating arrangement, visuals, what you will do if in case there are technical issues later on, and so on and so forth. And of course, consider your appearance. Dress appropriately to create a professional impression. Okay? Kasi hindi lang naman yung presentation mo yung titignan, how you are able to present yourself. So you cannot do that overnight, you need to practice. And of course, effective communication is not just about speaking. Na-mention ko naman na kanina yan. It's about engaging your audience. So in order for you to ensure your message is understood, you need to connect with your listeners and keep them involved. One is maintain eye contact. So establish a connection with your audience to keep them engaged and attentive. Avoid non-words. Yung mga non-words, yung mga fillers yan. Like, and you know, yung mga ganun, that sounds more hindi ka confident and unprofessional. So we need to eliminate that. Of course, show enthusiasm and speak convincingly. Use energy, tone variation, and confident body language to make sure that your message is impactful. Control your posture, meaning stand tall with a straight posture to project confidence. Avoid slouching, yung closing of arms, palagi yan, and unnecessary movement that may distract the audience. And of course, use good intonation. So baritone to highlight key points, keep your speech engaging. Iwasan natin yung monotone. Okay? It will just contribute to dull and uninteresting. And of course, keep the audience focused. Use controlled gestures to emphasize ideas while avoiding excessive hand movements that may distract the audience. So that's how we communicate to our audience. And of course, use visual effectively. Ito na naman, while visual enhances presentation, hindi dapat yun yung or as support lang dapat. Okay? Hindi replacement. Hindi replacement nung message mo. So the focus should remain on you as a speaker and yung topic, yung discussion, with visual use strategically to enforce key points. And of course, when we deliver presentation, dapat meron da yung answer and question. So give time to question or give time for question. Encourage your audience to participate by allowing them for a Q&A session. Kasi with that, we are valuing audience input and engage and response clearly. And of course, closing remarks should be dapat we need to review the major points of your presentation. How do we review? We need to summarize key points. We need to make a strong final impression. And of course, thank the audience. Pag sinabing summary or summarize, we need to briefly state the main idea without repeating the same. Kasi nagruhima nun. You need to keep it concise and impactful to enforce your message and show appreciation for their time and audience. And of course, we need to evaluate performance. So how do we evaluate performance? We need to assess strength. We need to identify who or what work well for us. Ano di major strengths tayo na nakakapag-contribute dun sa the way we deliver the presentation. And of course, pag may positive, kailangan din natin i-acknowledge yung mga negative. So what are the things that we miss? Sa visual ba? Sa audio ba? Nagkapalpak? The way I pronounce? Yung pacing ng boses ko, mabilis ba? Yung mga things that we can improve on. And of course, plan for future. So reflect on what you can improve and applies those lessons next time. So basing on your areas for improvement, ano yung mga yon na kailangan mong i-adjust for the next performance or for the next presentation? Ano yung mga strength mo na pwede mo pang i-enforce or reinforce? Yun. And yun yung delivering presentation. Now that we've covered effective communication and presentation skills, let us now shift our focus to essential workplace skill. So meron tayo dyang processing and understanding financial information. Now, managing financial data accurately ensures smooth business operations and informed decision making. So in business, cash includes coins, bills, checks, money orders, and funds in checking accounts. So yan yung mga cash. So different businesses now handle cash transaction in various ways. One is cash-only businesses, two high cash volume businesses, and three digital payment-based business. So pag cash only, meaning some companies accept only physical currency or money orders such as your small shops or a certain service provider. Ni high cash volume businesses, yung mga supermarkets and retail stores that processes large amounts of cash daily. Of course, pag ganitong mga level, it requires strict cash management. And of course, eto na, digital. Many companies now primarily use checks, credit cards, debit cards, or yung EFT, or electronic fund transfer for transactions, reducing the time or the need for us to tender physical cash. So understanding these payment methods is crucial for efficient cash handling and financial security in a business. And so cash is highly valuable and easy to lose or stolen asset, making it essential for businesses to implement protective measures. So stolen currency can spent immediately, while checks can be forged and cashed, leading to financial losses. So to prevent this, businesses use internal controls to safeguard cash by preventive, detective, and corrective. So your preventive, the aim is to stop theft, fraud, or errors before they happen. Example is dividing cash handling duties among employees to reduce risk. Kasi no may mesa lang ti pagipanan tayo or may mesa lang iti tao nga pagka-entrasan tayo di kwarta, what will happen if napukaw nga rod or natakaw? So, it um, more disadvantage on the part of the organization or business. Next, we have detective internal control. It helps identify financial losses that have already occurred, happened na, nawala na. So, how do we do that? How do we detect? So, reviewing financial reports and customer accounts to spot discrepancy. We have also corrective internal control. So, it focuses on recovering losses and improving processes to prevent further issue. So, fixing weak procedures that led to financial control or financial loss. Yun yung ways natin on how to correct corrective internal control under safety or safeguarding our cash. In this particular lesson also, we'll be discussing your billing customers such as your sales invoice. Now, your sales invoice is an important accounting document that records a business transactions between a seller and a buyer. So it serves as a formal request for payment and helps businesses keep track of their sales and revenue. So this is an example of a sales invoice. Another is your statement of account. So your statement of account is a document that summarizes your unpaid invoices as of a specific date, and it is usually at the end of the month. So it helps businesses and customers now keep track of our outstanding balances. So yan yung example ng statement of account. Next is your receiving payments. So in receiving payments, it involves preparing deposits. So businesses deposit cash and checks in a bank shortly after receiving them. So nung na-receive na, naka-collect na, naka-compute na, naka-record na, we need now to deposit. So some companies deposit funds multiple times a day, or others put only a few times a month depending on the volume or on transaction volume. So before depositing checks, employees must ensure they are properly endorsed to prevent fraud and ensure secure transaction. So what are the types of endorsement? We have blank endorsement. So the payee signs at the back of the check in ink. So in here, it provides a little protection because anyone holding the check can cash or transfer it. So we have also restrictive endorsement, includes instruction like for deposit only, making it safer. And of course, special endorsement, transfer the check to another person by writing pay to order of the name of the person. So we have here also an example of deposit slip wherein yung mga details na kailangan nating i-supply ay andyan. So we have here the date, the list of the deposit amount, identify the bank of each check, record any cash received, and calculate the net deposit. So yung sa identify the bank for each check, as much as we can, aglalalo no cash, mabilang no mano ti 500, mabilang ti mano nga 100, mabilang amin ultimo coins, okay? Is specific. So your deposit slip is a form used to record the amount of currency, coins, and checks being added to a bank account. So it helps businesses and individuals keep track of your deposit. Then, making payments for a company, you must review purchase-related documents to ensure accuracy before processing transaction. We have here review documents. When we do payment processes, so we have your purchase requisition. So your purchase requisition is a request that lists the items needed and include approval for purchase. Name-mention din natin to na often naririnig din natin to yung purchase order. So it is a formal document sent to a vendor specifying what was ordered and the shipping details. We have also receiving report. It confirms that the company has received the ordered goods. Kung ikaw yung nagpirma, nawala, delikado ka. We have vendor invoice, a bill from the supplier listing the amount owed for the purchased items. We have credit memorandum, a document showing a reduction in the amount owed due to returns, missing items, or defective goods. We have also voucher. So a voucher is a document that record payment details including the vendor name, your invoice date, payment terms, and amount owed. Of course, sa vendor name, it's either the business or the individual receiving the payment. The date, of course, the invoice was issued. Payment terms, conditions for payment, due date, discount, what else? And amount owed, the total amount to be paid. So now the question is, why use a voucher system? So it ensures proper approval before issuing payment. It helps maintain organized financial records, and it reduces errors and prevents unauthorized transaction. So let that example is the voucher. And we have also your EFT, your electronic fund transfer. So it allows businesses and individuals to make payments and deposit without using physical checks or cash. So instead, funds are transferred digitally through secure computer network. Alam naman na natin, bank transfer. Okay? So transfers one directly between bank accounts, eliminate the need for paper checks or cash handling, uses secure electronic systems to ensure quick and accurate transaction. So pag ganyan, if that EFT works, then the benefit will be, of course, faster transaction, comparing DJ traditional, more secure, and of course, more convenient. Now, your EFT is widely used for payroll. Sarak dalat at ATM disweldon, bill payments, online purchases, and of course, other business transaction. We have also bank statement and company records. So a bank statement is a financial document provided by the bank that summarizes account activity over a specific period, and this is usually a monthly basis. So it helps businesses and individuals track transactions and monitor their financial status. Okay? Usually, other banks, hindi sila nagpapabayad, pero may mga banks na pag mag-request ka ng bank account, statement of bank account, may bayad. So, anong nakikita natin or anong mga information na nakikita natin sa bank statement? So, obviously, we have your opening balance. Yung opening balance, it is the amount, of course, at the beginning of the statement period. Check process, list checks that were received and honored by the bank. At the ba, na-receive mo, na-check it, tapos pa-deposit mo yung account mo. Or ATM, it records the withdrawal or deposit. Deposit shows this fund added to your account, and closing balance, of course, is your final account mo or final amount in the account at the end of the statement period. So this is an example of a statement of account. So AWATM withdrawal, AC is ATM credits, PD is from pre-authorized electronic deposit. Okay. Again, AW is cash withdrawals from ATM, deposit made via ATM or credited funds ang AC. PD is automatic deposit, such as your salary payment. And I think that's it for this particular unit. So again, I hope that you've learned something from this discussion, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you for listening. So, good day, everyone. So, our lesson or our discussion today will evolve still on Unit 2. If you still remember, Unit 2 is all about managing information to enhance productivity. So, let's start. So, in today's fast paced business environment, managing information effectively is not just a skill, but a critical asset for enhancing productivity. At the core of this management lies the art of communication, particularly in written form. So, in this particular lesson, we will learn the rules that reading, as well as writing and business correspondence play in the workplace. So, we will explore how proficient reading skills can expedite information processing, making it easier to stay informed and at the same time make timely decisions. Also, writing at work where clarity, conciseness, and tone and essential of business correspondence are to be discussed. So first, let's talk about why reading at work is important. So reading at work is important because on many occasions you will need to read on the job. You will also find the reading or what do mean is we will find that reading is vital to understanding the total company in which you work or we work. So you will also need to read to complete your work task. So then why reading about your company is important? So to answer you with that, of course, employee need to understand how their work fits into the bigger picture. Okay, so reading memos, newsletters, policies, manual, the chairman's report, and policies help them stay informed about your company goals, ano pa, changes if there are, and of course, also expectations. Also, aside from knowing the company, reading is also necessary for understanding instruction. So, paano naman to? Of course, when we join in the organization, obviously that we may be introduced to new equipment or software. Okay, and it is always comes with written manuals. So employees must read these instructions to use the tools correctly. Okay, so for example, meron tayo dyan how to use speech recognition software. So in order for us to use that, we might read the manual. Okay, so meaning it requires careful reading of the guide or the manual. So what about how reading helps in responding to inquiry? So in an organization, obviously that employees often receive questions from coworkers or even your customers. So the thing is, you don't need to memorize all the answers, but of course, you should know where to find them. Um, and yung sinasabi dyan na how to find them, you need to make it sure that it's quick and at the same time accurate. So how do we do that? Obviously, when we read. So reading helps them locate the right information efficiently. In short, meaning or the bottom line here is reading at work is essential for staying informed, what else? Understanding instruction and responding to inquiries. So developing this reading skills helps employees more or work effectively. So now that we understand why reading is essential at work, let us now discuss how we can improve our reading skills, okay, to become even more proficient. At the same time, since ito yung discussion natin with this unit, become productive. So we have here what we call high-level reading skills. Your high-level reading skills, or we also call it strong reading skills, boost productivity at work. So if you wanted to be productive at work, what are the areas that we can improve on? So what are the three key areas that contribute to improving our reading skills? So we have here the next slide, your comprehension, your vocabulary, and your speed. Now, when we talk about comprehension, it is the ability to understand the materials you're reading and grasp its concepts clearly. So, for example, if you're reading an email from, let us just say, from your boss about a project deadline, So comprehension allows you understand exactly when the task is due, what requires, ano yung mga requirement on the assignment or on the task, and if you're able to comprehend the email, then you should know who's responsible for what. Another thing is your vocabulary. So when we say vocabulary is the collection of words you know and understand how to use. So a large vocabulary helps you understand more of what you read. So example, knowing the terms like deadline, pag sinabi natin deadline in a project, it's the priority. Okay? Ano yung priority in a project? That, of course, helps you stay on track. So if you're unfamiliar with this term, it could lead to misunderstanding. So what else is speed? So the time it takes to read a passage. Okay? So challenges with comprehension or vocabulary can slow you down, but you can improve your reading speed with practice. Okay? So example, if you have to read several reports before a meeting, being able to read them quickly is a speed, while understanding the key points help you save time and stay prepared for discussion, meaning practicing reading quickly but carefully lets you absorb the most important information without feeling rushed. So meaning reading comprehension is a crucial skill that enables individuals to understand, retain, and apply information effectively. By employing strategic reading techniques, readers can enhance their ability to process and recall key concepts. This guides provides essential strategies to improve reading comprehension, ensuring a more focused and structured approach understanding the text. Now, to improve our reading comprehension more, one must first focus by eliminating distraction. Yan yung una. Again, focus. Eliminate distraction. We cannot remove, but at least we can eliminate. And identify the purpose. So that is identifying the purpose, of course, of reading to establish a clear goals. Also, scanning or scan. So you need to scan the material before in-depth readings helps or provide you an overview. Summarizing key points while processing through paragraphs ensures better retention. Organizing ideas in a sequence enhances logical understanding, while drawing a mental picture aids in visualization. A check-up steps allows reviewing key points to verify comprehension, and if necessary, rereading helps reinforce understanding and fill in any gaps kung meron tayong hindi naintindihan when we read. So implementing these strategies fosters a more effective and engaging reading experience. So another essential skills for effective communication at work is writing. So kung importante ang reading, important din ang writing. So writing is essential in many jobs, and it varies depending on your role in the organization. Okay, some common writing tasks in an office includes summarizing messages, taking notes, what else? Taking notes on meetings, reviewing others' writing, and composing messages. So that everyone in an office may need to write or review a written content. Now, in terms of reviewing the writing of others, meron dyan tayong tinatawag na rewriting and yung editor. So at work, it's often necessary to revise others' work, okay, to make it clearer and more effective. Now, in some cases, employees, especially assistant, act as editor. So ano yung editor? Obviously, it's a person who reviews what has been written to suggest changes in terms of wording, organization, and at the same time, content. Now, in writing, of course, kailangan mag-compose ng message. So, messages written at work can represent the views of a department or a company. Often, one person writes a draft, which is then reviewed and revised by others in order for us to ensure it's clear and effective. Kung kanina meron tayong ways on how to become an effective in terms of reading comprehension, meron din tayong ways in terms of writing. So these are the effective writing characteristics in order for us to ensure that the message is well received and at the same time understood by the audience or by an audience. So it includes the following key characteristics. Your first C is clear. So when we say clear, the message should be logical, structured, making it easy for the reception or the recipient rather to follow and understand without needing further clarification. Okay, so as much as we can, yung message na kinompose natin or na ginagawa natin or na, yung gagawin natin is that we need to make sure na all details should be clear. Okay? Naka-ornus isuna accordingly. Concise, it should be brief and to the point or direct to the point. Avoid necessary words that do not add value to the message. So instead of you straight to the point, nagkakaroon kasi ng most of the time if ipalpalikos tayo pelaeng. Okay? So as much as we can avoid that. Another C is courteous. So writing should be polite and considerate, using respectful language and expression like thank you and please. So maybe we assume that haan namot nga marik na no anati expression ko jay mang basa. So why uh, we possess or we present our message in a courteous manner. Wag wag dapat ganun yung connotation natin. Okay? Another C is complete. So a message should provide all the necessary details to answer any potential questions the reader might have. So when we compose a message, we need to make it sure that as much as we can, tawag dito, lahat ng possible question nung reader, ando na sa letter mo. Meaning, no need to ask further details. And of course, another letter C is your correct. Accurate is essential. So the information should be error-free, well verified, and up-to-date before finalizing the document. Usually dito, when we write aglalalo no business correspondence, the name of the person that we are writing. So, wag sana tayong magkamali in terms of their names kasi nakababainet. And also their address. Okay? Or yung tinatawag natin na, for example, no Dr. Isuna. We need to make it clear also, Dr. ba ti education or Dr. ba iti medicine? Mga ganon. Okay? So, actually, these characteristics of effective writing, minsan sinasabi natin, they are your 5 C's. Okay? Next, let's proceed to how do we manage the task of writing. So, to effectively complete writing assignments, we need to follow these structured steps. So, one, we need to identify the purpose. Determine the reason for writing to ensure clarity. Yun naman yung pinaka-basic, no? Next is gather information. So correct or collect all necessary details to support your message. And then after that, you are now ready to draft the message, meaning you are now to create an outline and even the draft your content based on your key ideas. After that, review and edit, you need to check your message for clarity, what else, coherence, and necessary corrections if there are. And of course, seek feedback. If needed, submit your draft for review by your colleague or supervisor to prevent erroneous tawag dito, message. And kung may mga corrections later on, dito na papasok yung revise the draft. So, improve your writing based on the feedback or your self-assessment kung ikaw mismo yung nag-assess sa sulat mo. And of course, to verify that, we need to proofread. Okay, no i-correct mo lang. Dili errors na kita. Okay? So carefully check for errors in grammar, spelling, and even formatting. And of course, finalize now and distribute. When we say finalize and distribute, we need to sign and prepare the message for its final delivery or distribution. Next, let's move forward with business correspondence. So, creating an effective business documents requires careful planning and preparation. So, the process involves three key stages. We have first is drafting or draft, second is revising and editing, and third is proofreading and finalizing. Now, for drafting, here, writing the initial version of the document, meaning hindi pa siya final, ensuring all necessary information is included. After your draft, the next thing that we need to do is to refine the content, improve clarity, organization, and correcting any inconsistencies. Yan yung tinatawag nating revising and editing. And of course, proofreading na and finalizing. We need to carefully review the document for grammar, spelling, and formatting errors before presenting the final version, just like what we mentioned a while ago. No? So following these steps ensures that business documents are professionally accurate and impactful in communication. Again, we should present our business correspondence in a way that it's very professional, accurate, at the same time impactful in communication. So let us try to look into these specific details or phase in writing. So drafting, of course, the first draft is a rough version where ideas are recorded without focusing on perfection. So dito, writers should clarify their purpose. Ano yung purpose mo why you are writing? Is to inform ba, to persuade, or describe? In drafting, we are looking into a well-structured message, meaning it requires an outline for logical flow and positive tone. And dito natin also tinitingnan yung you approach to engage reader. So understanding the audience helps also determine the tone, the detail level, and of course the formality. At the same time, writers should define the desired response clearly to ensure effective communication. So yung mga questions dyan, like what is the purpose of writing, what is your message, who and where is your audience, and what is the response that you want from the reader. So before writing business document, it is also essential to clearly define its purpose. Na-mention naman na natin kanina, no? To inform, to persuade, to describe. So, pag sinabing to inform, from the word inform, we are providing factual details such as updates on mabaling new product mo, new services mo, what else? Policy, kung meron man, or procedure, and so on and so forth. Pag to persuade naman, meaning we need to convince the reader to take action or adopt an idea or support a proposal. And of course, to describe, explaining a process, hindi lang process pero situation or concept in details for better understanding. Again, although these purposes may overlap, having a clear goal in mind helps ensure that the message remains focused, relevant, and effective throughout the drafting process. After the drafting, message na tayo. So when drafting a business document, the message should be clear, structured, and reader-focused. To achieve this, we need to consider the following. 1. Organize with an outline. So structuring the document logically ensures that the current or the content flows smoothly and is easy to understand, especially for longer document. So no han nga na-construct di message mo, in a way nga agsasaro no, it's become now too confusing for the reader, lalo na kung long documents yung ginagawa natin. Use the you approach. Na-mention ko kanina that instead of I, maybe we could use we, or meaning in short, shift the focus from the writer, from I and we, to the reader, you and your, to make the message more engaging and relevant. And of course, maintain a positive tone. Avoid negative wording and always be courteous and helpful. A positive approach encourages cooperation, at the same time strengthens communication. After message is the audience. What we are trying to look into here is knowing your audience really helps shape your message effectively. So we need to consider the following. One is familiarity. Adjust detail based on the reader's knowledge. Also, number of readers. So a single reader allows for personalization, while a larger audience requires a broader approach. In audience also, tingnan natin internal versus external, meaning internal documents can be informal, external ones should be professional. For confidentiality, be mindful of sensitive information. And response needed, clearly state the action you expect from the reader. So, for the response, you think about how the reader will use your document. Again, to decide ba, to learn, or to take action. So, the thing that you need to do is, of course, you need to clearly state what response you expect, make it easy for the reader to understand and act, and of course, provide specific instructions if needed. So another important stage in writing business correspondence is your revising and editing. Your revising, we need to consider we assure or ensure the content is logical and aligned with the intended message. Also here, we are looking into editing, meaning focuses on the details, correcting errors, and of course, improve readability. And of course, we need to follow the 5 C's. Na-mention natin a while ago, it should be clear, concise, courteous, complete, and correct. Next, proofreading. Proofreading is your third phase in preparing a document, ensuring it is error-free and polished before final submission. Again, the word polish. So verify all editing changes that were applied correctly. Check spelling, grammar, and numbers for accuracy. Use spell checkers, but also manual reviews. The text is also good. Look for common errors such as eto minsan, yung there versus there, yung there na THERE versus yung THEIR. When do we use this term? So we need to look into and consider this. Okay? And of course, we are in proofreading. So proofreaders use specific symbols to indicate corrections in a written document. So adan to digiti correct kadigit siya output you wherein they are going to use this marks. So ano yung mga yan? So yan yung mga example of many. Okay? So kung nakita nyo na itong mga marks na to sa inyong mga papel, okay, mas madali kasi na i-edit or i-correct yung work ng iba. So, just like what I mentioned a while ago, here are some common marks and their meaning. So, we have there delete, insert, capitalize, close up, and so on and so forth. Now, let's proceed now through the type of messages. So, one type of messages is your positive or your neutral messages. These or those that do not disappoint the reader kasi nga positive. Okay? And often convey good or routine news. So, these are an example what on the screen. So, what do you notice? So, it is starts with a positive word such as congratulations. So, deliver the good or neutral news directly at the beginning of the message. Keep the tone clear, polite, and professional. Okay? So, yung example dyan na congratulations, starting pa lang nung message, nandyan na yung positive na term. Okay? So, common examples includes a long positive and neutral message is when we have a confirmation on our order, request for information, credit approval, routine claims or adjustments, and many other examples. No, at the positive, and of course, meron din na tayong negative messages. So, your negative messages deliver disappointing or upsetting news. So, they should be handled carefully to maintain goodwill. So, unlike your first message type, in this particular example, of course, alangan mo nga ipasabat mo ti negative message. So, what we need to do is, of course, explain the reason. Apay nga di request na refuse before stating it directly. Okay? So, yung example natin dyan, nag-thank you muna siya that they consider the bank. But as you go along with the message, sinabi na niya dyan, bakit na-refuse yung request. Meaning, keep the tone polite, all the more because it's negative, yung message. Kailangan pa ding maging professional, and more importantly is empathic. Okay? So offer also alternatives or solutions when possible. Okay? Kasi problem lang aro din, so try to be of help. But you need to ask first. Okay? Common examples include refusing requests for adjustment, canceling services, or reporting unfavorable result. Next, moving on, is your business letter. So one of the most common formats used in business communication is your business letter. So a business letter is a formal written message sent to individuals or organizations, usually outside the company. So it represents the company's professionally and helps shape the recipient's impression for the business. So a business letter should not only convey a message, but also it creates a professional impression. Kasi nga, na-mention natin a while ago that yung letter represents the organization. So a well-presented letter encourages the recipient to take it seriously, while poorly formatted one may be ignored. So these are your key features of a well-presented business letter. 1. Proper margins and spacing for readability. 2. Correct placement of letter parts. Yung formatting, tama ba yung pagkakasunod-sunod ng mga parts of the letter? Use of high-quality stationery, free of errors, smudges, or fingerprints, and it should be neat and clear. Printing. Okay, hindi yung parang basura. So, following that, since na-present iso na as one of the good, tapos makareceive kati good impression, okay, we need to learn the different letter parts of a business letter. Okay, so again, your business letter follows a structured format to maintain professionalism and clarity. So as you can see on the screen, meron tayong dalawang parts. So we have yung standard letter parts or your essential elements. Meron din tayo dyan yung optional letter parts. So obviously, on the standard letter parts, meron tayong printed letterhead. So yung printed letterhead, nakakita naman na kayo nun. Usually, ang mga details na andyan is of course your company details. Yung logo. Okay? Following that is the date. Of course, the date the letter is written. The letter address, meaning the recipient's name and address. We have also your salutation or your formal greeting. Your body is your main content of the letter. We have also your complementary clause, meaning your formal closing. Example is your sincerely, respectfully. What else? Signature, printed name, and title. So, the sender's identification. So, kung paano mo sinulat yung sa letter addressee mo or yes, yung sa letter addressee mo, ganun din dapat yung format nung sa baba. You have also your optional letter parts. We have use as needed. We have mailing notation. So, yung mailing notation, yan yung special delivery instructions. We have also your attention line, meaning directs the letter to a specific person. Subject line highlights the topic. Enclosure notation indicates the attached documents. Copy notation shows who else receives the letter. Sino pa yung naka-receive of the same letter. Postscript or your PS, additional message after the closing. We have reference initials, identifies the letters or the writer and typist. And of course, multiple pages header used for multiple page letter. So example of that is the one that is presenting on the screen. Next, we have the format of a business letter. So the format of business letter refers to how the text is arranged on the page, and that writers most frequently use the block and your modified block letter formats. So let's go first to the block format. So pag block format, all text is aligned to the left margin, facing sa ginagawa ninyo. No paragraph indentation or indentations. And for block format, it is efficient and commonly used for business communication. So when to use your block format as additional information? So for formal business letters such as job application, a complaint letter, official request, and legal correspondence, ito usually ang ginagawa na format or sinusunod na format, yung block. When writing to government offices, corporate executives, or international clients who expects a strict and professional format. So, ayan yung example ng block business letter format. Okay? So, in this particular example, double space in all aspect or part except after your complementary clause, wherein you will sign, that is 5 spaces. After your block, we have your modified block format. Your modified block format, the date, the complementary clause, the signature block are aligned to the center of the page. Paragraphs may be intended half of inch for a more formal appearance. So when do we use modified block format? So when we want professional yet slightly less formal appearance compared for the full block format. Suitable for may mga iba, business letter, company communication, or client correspondence, where readability and balanced layout are preferred. So, meaning, usually, di kita adid corporate setting. Pero usually, sa atin, we use block format. Next, we have here example of your modified block. So, here, the characteristics of the modified block format na mention naman na natin kanina that yung date, yung closing and signature are right aligned instead of left aligned. The body are left aligned. No paragraph indentation, unlike semi-block. And that single spacing within paragraphs and double spacing between them. Of course, meron din tayong envelopes. So, business letters sent to external recipients, and it requires professional-looking envelopes to create a positive first impression. So, here are the guidelines for preparing envelopes. 1, we need to use high-quality stationery that matches the letterhead. So, kung ano yung ginamit mo sa letter, dun sa letterhead, ganun din dapat yung logo or format nung nasa envelope. Ensures clear and professional printing. Keep the envelope clean and smudges free. And follow proper formatting for address to ensure readability and delivery. So, saan natin ilalagay yung to? Saan natin ilalagay yung from? Para, of course, hindi mag-return to sender. We have also your memo. Your memo, short for memorandum. Your memorandum is a written communication that is used within an organization to convey information, updates, or instructions to its members. So it is typically a brief document that is used to communicate specific details about a particular issue or topic. So an informal document used for internal communication within an organization. Of course, ano yung ba yung mga use ng memo? Obviously, one is to share information with multiple employees at once, provide instruction or explain procedures, announce policy updates, meeting schedules or reminders, and of course, quickly communicate important but brief messages like yung mga procedure na update, changes in terms of policy, and so on and so forth. Now, in the screen is an example of a typical memorandum. Again, memos typically have a specific format that includes heading. As you can see on the example, dito sa heading, meron tayo dyang to, from, date, and of course the subject. Followed by the body of the message, and wherein memos may also include attachments such as reports or data to provide additional information. But ever curious that may mga memo na mayroong reference number? Okay? So for example, HRM 01 kasi yun yung unang memo, or rather HRM 2025, that's the year this year obviously, dash 001. 001 is a code kasi yun yung unang memo. And usually meron ding mga memo na may signature. Bakit kaya? Of course, to maintain official documentation and tracking. So, why do some memos have reference number and approval? Kailan ba dapat merong tawag dito, reference number? So, obviously that it is being used to track and record keeping. So, pag may reference number, of course, it helps you categorize and retrieve memos easily within an organization kasi tilang no kakitaman is the reference number. Of course, no at the sign na, meaning it's officially authorization. So, signatures from department heads confirm that the memo is valid and authorized. And of course, standardized communication. It helps ensures that important internal announcements follow company policy. And of course, may audit and compliance. So, sometimes, yung mga memos na yan, it serves as our official records. Okay, so tapno no at the proof tayo, kailangan natin ng ganito. Next, we have the minutes of the meeting. So pag sinabi natin minutes of the meeting, it is a official written record of discussions, decisions, and even actions taken during a meeting. So they serve as a reference document for attendees and of course yung mga absent, ensuring clarity and of course accountability. For your minutes of the meetings, the following are the parts of the said business correspondence. So we have heading. Of course, it includes the organization's name, the meeting, the date and time, and of course, the location. So attendance, of course, sino digiti nag-participate. Attendance also includes sino digiti absent, sino digiti naka-official leave, or digiti naka-official business rather, yung mga special guests, and so on and so forth. We have also call to order, meaning states when the meeting officially begins. Approval of the previous minutes, so we need to confirm the approval of the past meeting. After that, agenda items, we need now to discuss in detail yung mga kailangan nating pag-usapan in the meeting. Action items, we have announcements, adjournment states when the meeting ends, and signature. So, usually the secretary are in charge of it, or kung sino man yung gumagawa ng minutes of the meeting. You need to record, sign the document for authenticity. So this slide is an example of how minutes of the meeting would look like. Next, we have your email. So your email is your electronic mail. It is a digital message sent over the internet or a network. We know for a fact that pag email, it enables us to it enables fast and efficient communication within and outside the organization. Obviously, we are not going to dig into this further because you already know what is email. Siguro eto na lang. So, your email address, how hindi tayo makakapag-receive or makapag-send ng email kung wala tayong email address. And this is a unique identifier that are required to send and receive emails. And it follows a standard format. So for example, we have jane.dewey@example.com. So in that particular slide or example, meron tayong dyan yung different parts niya. So obviously in this particular example, yung DS Smith that is the unique identifier of an individual. So usually that yung nagam tayo. Following that is your ENG, meaning yan is yung identifies the department, English ba yan or engineering. Yung UNIV, that is university, okay? And yung EDU, of course, education or institution. Next, let's proceed with business reports. So, in business reports, ano ba ito? So, the business reports is a written document that represents information and analysis about a particular business topic, and it is used to communicate information to decision makers and that stakeholders and other interested parties. Business reports can take many forms, including reports, presentations, and visual aids such as graphs and charts. So the purpose of this business report is to provide now a clear and structured summary. So in this particular format, meron tayo diyang tinatawag na unbound at left-bound report. So unbound, of course, fastened with a paper clip or staple at the upper left corner, no extra margin space for binding, and best for short internal reports that are easy to distribute. No left-bound report naman, ito yung kailangan ng extra space on the left. Tapno no, mabind tayo di jay at the provision na for binding. And usually, pag left-bound report, it is used for formal, kaya di tayo lengthy reports, adu, kan atidong nga reports that require durability and multiple pages. Have also yung formatting. So, paki-follow na lang itong guideline natin in terms of. So, this naman is a format for formal business report. So, alam na natin na kailangan ng title page. Pag sinabing title page, it includes the report title, the writer's name, the organization, and even the date. It follows also with table of contents, meaning the list of headings with corresponding page number, the summary, a brief overview of the report. Usually, sinasabi natin yung executive summary or abstract. It is also being called as summary or executive summary or abstract. We have also the body, of course, the main content, and usually it is being divided into sections or chapters. We have also quotation, yung references for external sources with long quotes set apart. We have documentation, meaning citations or quoted or adapted material. We have references, a list of sources used, also known as your endnotes, bibliography or work cited, and even appendix. Your additional data like charts, graphs, or table paste at the end. So yan, yung example ng ano natin, nung na-mention natin na format ng business report. Yan. Next, we have visual aids. Your visual aids includes tables, graphs, charts, maps, and illustrations that help present data clearly in a report. So it enhances understanding with the use of visual aid. It simplifies complex data for easier interpretation. It reduces text, meaning it represents key information visually, minimizing lengthy explanation kasi nga makikita mo, and improving engagement, meaning makes reports more visually appealing and readable. For table naman, it is being used when we organize facts, figures, and data into row and column for easy comparison and analysis. Now, the purpose of the tables is to obviously summarize information, facilitate comparison, and improve clarity. So with the use of tables, how do we summarize information? Of course, we represent your key data precisely or concisely. And it helps analyze differences and of course, trends. So these are example of table. I have also graph. So a graph is a visual representation of data, making information easier to understand and analyze. So the purpose naman of graph is of course enhance readability. So we convert numerical data into a clear or visual format. Instead nga mulmulagat ang data, statistic, why not visual? If it's appropriate. Simplify interpretation, it is easier to understand than raw figures in columns. And of course, make reports more engaging. Kasi nga, visual is una, okay, improves also comprehension. As nang kumakasta. And I think that's it. So, I think that you're able to learn something from our discussion, and I do hope that I'll see you again next time. So, again, thank you for listening and have a good day.